I want to start today with a question that I think most people have never actually sat down and answered. What do you value? Not what you valued in your career, not what your employer valued, not what your family expected you to value. What do you value at the deepest level in the quietest part of yourself? If that question made you pause, if you found yourself reaching for an answer and coming up a little empty, you are not alone. And you are not unusual. Most high-achieving professionals have spent so many decades living by the values of their organization, their profession, and their role that they have never had to answer that question for themselves. The career answered it for them. And now that the career is over, the question is finally, genuinely yours to answer. Today, I'm going to show you how. My name is Travis, and I'm Bill Bergfeld's personal assistant. This is video 4 in the Rebirth of Retirement series. And this is the video where we stop looking backward and start building forward. Before you can design a new identity, you need to know what you're working with. Think of it this way. If you were going to renovate a house, not tear it down and start over, but genuinely renovate it, the first thing a great architect would do is a thorough inspection. Not to judge what's there, not to decide what to keep or throw away, just to see clearly what exists. That's exactly what this video is about. In the Identity Blueprint Framework, Module 2 is called The Architecture of You, and the name is intentional. Before you can build something new, you need to conduct an honest, thorough inventory of the raw materials you already possess. And here is what I have found working with retired professionals through this process. Almost everyone is astonished by what they find when they actually look. Because here's the truth. Your career, as meaningful as it was a container. And containers, by definition, hold only a portion of what's inside you. The values, the strengths, and the passions that make you who you are at the deepest level. Your career expressed some of them, but it almost certainly left a great deal on the table. Today, we're going to find what was left on the table. We're going to look at 3 things: your values, your strengths, and your passions. And by the end of this video, you will have a clearer picture of who you actually are, independent of any title, any role, or any organization than you may have had in decades. Let's start with values. Because values are the foundation. Everything else, your purpose, your contribution, your daily choices, gets built on top of them. And if you don't know what your values are, you are building on sand. Here's how I define values, and I want you to hold this definition carefully. Values are not goals. They are not preferences. They are not aspirations. Values are the non-negotiable truths about who you are at your deepest level. They are the principles that, when honored, make you feel most fully alive, and when violated, make you feel most profoundly wrong. You've felt this. You know exactly what I mean. You've been in a meeting where something was said or decided that made your stomach turn, not because it was inconvenient, but because it violated something you believed in at a level that went beyond logic. That was a value being violated. And you've had moments in the opposite direction. Moments where you were doing something that felt so right, so aligned, so completely you that time disappeared and effort felt effortless. That was a value being honored. Here's what makes values so powerful in retirement. They were present long before your career began. They will remain long after it has ended. They are portable, permanent, and entirely yours. Your career may have honored some of your values beautifully and violated others routinely. In retirement, for the first time, you get to build a life that honors all of them. The Values Clarification Exercise. Here is a simple way to begin identifying your core values. I want you to think about 2 types of moments from your life. Not just your career, but your whole life. Moment type 1. A time when you felt most fully alive, most engaged, most like yourself. When did you feel that? What were you doing? Who were you with? What was happening? Moment type 2. A time when you felt most deeply wrong, most compromised, most like you were betraying something essential about yourself. When was that? What was happening? The values that were being honored in the first type of moment and violated in the second, those are your core values. Write them down. Give them names. Integrity, creativity, service, family, excellence, freedom, justice, learning, leadership, courage. Most people find they have 3 to 5 values that feel truly non-negotiable. Those are your bedrock. and everything we build in the identity blueprint gets built on top of them. The second area of your inventory is your strengths. And I want to make a distinction here that I think is one of the most liberating ideas in this entire course. There is a profound difference between job skills and human strengths. Job skills are the technical competencies you developed for a specific role, the software you learned, the processes you mastered, the industry knowledge you accumulated over decades. These are valuable, but they are role-specific. When the role ends, their relevance narrows. Human strengths are something far deeper and more durable. They are the innate capacities that made you effective in your career, and that will make you effective in whatever you choose to do next. Research from the field of positive psychology, pioneered by Dr. Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania and the VIA Institute on Character, identifies 24 universal character strengths that represent the best of human nature. Qualities like wisdom, courage, creativity, leadership, kindness, fairness, humor, and perseverance. Every person possesses all 24 to varying degrees, but each individual has a unique signature profile of 5 to 7 top strengths, the ones that feel most natural, most energizing, and most authentically expressive of who they are. Here's what I want you to notice. Your career almost certainly drew heavily on your top strengths, which is one reason you were good at it, and one reason you miss it. But those strengths are not locked inside your old job description. They are yours. They are transferable to mentoring, volunteering, creative pursuits, community leadership, entrepreneurship, teaching, and 100 other expressions that may be far more aligned with your values than your career ever was. A practical step you can take today. The VIA Institute on Character offers a free, research-validated character strengths assessment at viacharacter.org. Takes about 15 minutes. I encourage every single person watching this video to take it before the end of the week. When you get your results, look at your top 5. And then ask yourself this question: in what new context, in retirement, could I express this strength in a way that genuinely matters to me? That question is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. The third area of your inventory is the one that tends to produce the most emotion when I talk about it with people. Your passions. Somewhere along the way, between the promotions and the deadlines and the responsibilities, many of us quietly set aside the things that made us come alive. The painting we used to do on weekends, the instrument we played in college, the cause we cared about deeply but never had time to pursue, the subject we could talk about for hours but that had nothing to do with our job. Retirement is the invitation, perhaps the first genuine invitation of your adult life, to bring those things back. Not as hobbies to fill time, but as genuine expressions of who you are and what you love. I want to give you a simple test for identifying a true passion. I call it the "I would do this even if nobody paid me" test. Think about the activities, subjects, or causes that you would pursue even if there were no financial reward, no social recognition, and no external validation of any kind. The things you do because the doing itself is the reward. That is passion. And passion in retirement is not a luxury. It is fuel. When we engage in activities that produce genuine intrinsic joy, our brains release the neurochemicals dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin that create the subjective experience of being fully alive. Passion is the fuel of a meaningful life. And in retirement, for the first time, you have the freedom to let it drive. The Passion Archaeology Exercise. I want to invite you to do something that might feel a little unusual. I want you to go back in time. Think back to before your career consumed your time, before the responsibilities multiplied, before the identity of professional crowded out everything else. What did you love? What did you do for the sheer joy of it? What subjects lit you up? What activities made you lose track of time? Write down everything that comes up. Don't edit. Don't judge. Don't ask whether it's practical or impressive or age-appropriate. Just write. Those answers are the raw material of the most fulfilling chapter of your life. Here's what I want you to hold as you do this inventory work. Your values tell you what matters most to you. Your strengths tell you what you are uniquely equipped to do. Your passions tell you what you love. The magic, the place where a truly extraordinary retirement identity lives, is at the intersection of all three. When you are living your values, expressing your strengths, and pursuing your passions simultaneously, That is what it feels like to be fully alive. That is what it feels like to have an identity that is not just adequate, but genuinely extraordinary. And that intersection is available to you, right now, in this chapter of your life. The work of finding it is not complicated. It is honest. It requires you to look at yourself clearly, without the filter of your former title, and ask, who am I? Really? What do I value? What am I good at? What do I love? Those questions have answers, and the answers are waiting for you. If you want to go deeper on this inventory work, if you want the full values clarification exercise, the strengths inventory, and the Passion Archaeology Exercise with guided worksheets, all of that is inside the Identity Blueprint course at rebirthofretirement.com. Module 2 of the course walks you through each of these exercises step by step, with a student guide that takes you from raw reflection to a clear, written inventory of who you actually are. And if you're not ready for the full course yet, download our free guide, Beyond the Title, also at rebirthofretirement.com. It's a 5-chapter introduction to the entire framework, and it's completely free. Before you go, I want to leave you with one thing. Your values didn't retire when you did. Your strengths didn't retire. Your passions didn't retire. They've been waiting patiently for exactly this moment, when you finally have the time, the freedom, and the courage to let them lead. That moment is now. I'll see you in the next video.